for your detailed presentation on the offerings from Logitech. So it was very interesting, first of all, to hear from Morgan that you as an organization have had to adapt with time in order to be able to survive, which is, I think, what a lot of people in this session right now would like, it resonates with a lot of them because there's a lot of adaptability that has to happen for the businesses to survive and for everybody to be able to keep their job. So that was very encouraging to hear and to just see that you're across 100 countries, you've adapted and are still doing business. Some of the things that I picked up from your presentation, Sugan, was especially around the personalized solutions that you have, which I think are important because one size cannot fit all. So based on customer needs, you're able to personalize whatever solutions they're interested in. And then obviously money is always a problem, especially like now budgets have been cut back. So it's important to know, and it's very comforting to know that there's flexibility around budget and the customer is king, when you're engaging with whether it's a consumer or an enterprise organization, customer is at the center of all your solutions. So that's very, very exciting. As we know, not the whole of Africa has electricity. So just to hear that there's some devices that are battery operated makes it exciting. That means when we have our blackouts and things like that, does not mean business stops, things continue happening and there's some kind of business continuity. And then what excited me, which I didn't expect to come up, was the meeting room solutions. So, and you talked about the judiciary and people like those, all sorts of other organizations that can take advantage, that are not necessarily in the health space, that can take advantage of a meeting room solution. Like I can tell you for sure, like the Kenya judiciary has gone fully online, and I'm sure there are many other organizations, especially in the public sector space, that would like to go online. And it's comforting to know that they can actually reach out to Logitech for their meeting room solutions. So that's just a quick recap of my understanding of your presentation. And thank you very much. I'm now much smarter than I was before we started. And now we're going to go into the Q&A. So the first question is from Eliud, and I hope Eliud has managed to get his sound back. Eliud, so that you're able to listen to the response. So Eliud is asking, he says the products are nice. How does he get the services?
I think the answer to that is very simple. For now, just from a Logitech perspective, Africa has always been a focus of ours, but we have, since the last 2 years, huge investment in developing the marketplace in Africa. To date, many consumers across Africa have been able to buy products online through Amazon, the US, Dubai, and the likes. And we're trying to change that. We're trying to create official channels both in East, West, and Central Africa. Today, we have an established channel in East Africa, in Kenya, Nairobi, and they basically cover Tanzania, Uganda, and Rwanda, and parts of Ethiopia and South Sudan. So depending on where you are in it, we'd love to talk to you a bit more. We are growing the channel, our partner base, and our service offering. So we'd love to engage with you to find out a bit more.
Anything to add, Morgan?
No, that's about it. He's spot on. Again, we have a model of, we have in-country distributors so that they could provide the support. So they could provide stock locally and support locally. And if there's any issues or any problems with the products, there's a 2-year warranty for a swapper. Not that it's highly unlikely to happen, but at least as a consumer or as a company, enterprise business, you know that there is an RMA in place and it covers a 2-year warranty. So it's and the support is there from our distributors. They trained up, they know exactly how to go about providing services and backup support within the country. As I always say to people, selling is the easy part in Africa. It's when there's operational support needed, services needed, to keep your equipment up and running, that it defines the better companies from the companies that are not so good.
Yeah, and I think you've mentioned something very important there, Morgan, when you talk about support in case of anything, because, a lot of these solutions come into Africa, and then when it's time for support, you find yourself running around in circles, chasing your tail like a dog because you just don't know where to get support from, So I think it's very important for anybody who's going to invest in any technology solution to know that local support is available.
Yeah.
So Stephen, I'm going to assume that if anybody is interested in any of the solutions, they can reach out to you directly. You will share with us your
Absolutely.
Okay.
So both my email address as well as Morgan's email address has been included in the handout deck. So once I download the deck, our information is in there.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so next question is from Dennis Kaka. He says, one of the biggest challenges in healthcare provision is systemic fraud. He would like to hear of some of the developments around curbing this.
I'm not sure I understand. So if maybe Dennis can add some light. When we talk about systemic fraud, is that in the medical sector? Is it via equipment? Is it via hacking?
I think basically what he's saying is that end to end in the medical industry or in the medical sector, there's a lot of fraud, and it's basically because of the amount of budgets that is involved. We're talking about equipment, we're talking about medication, we're talking about the brick and mortar. So I think what Dennis is trying to figure out or is looking for an answer around this is, how can technology help this? And have you thought about how you can manage, let's say, the supply chain? Budgets are allocated, the solutions you're talking about, are they able to help with this, or are we just talking about diagnosis? Is there something else?
I think, okay, I understand a lot better now. So I think from a Logitech perspective, there's very little that we can actually do about that. But at the same time, if we look at industry-wide, there are various forms of technology and artificial intelligence systems and platforms that are being put together and taken to market right now. I'm happy to introduce Dennis to a couple of the guys that he can have a conversation with. And they specifically work around supply chain requirements, supply chain demand, and making sure that the system drives the acquisition rather than the system allowing for intervention. And this is something, I see Dennis has come back with something. Typically, medical claims are highly fraudulent. How do your solution help in fraud detection and prevention? I think the simple answer to that is our system doesn't allow for fraud detection apart from just providing a system. Our system is an overlay. So your existing infrastructure, network infrastructure will have to run through firewalls. Your connectivity would have to be managed. Those kind of things would still have to be put in place. The Logitech video conferencing equipment would then be an overlay. We don't have any specific firewall requirements. We would work with your specific your business strategic firewall requirements. And the traffic can be pointed through to any switch that is managed, which I think would probably be the better answer in this case. I hope I've answered your question, Dennis. Morgan, I don't know if there's anything for you to add.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly what Dennis was asking as well, but I think maybe he's talking about he says medical claims. So maybe he's talking about things like sick notes. So a guy goes off to the doctor and gets a sick note and is off work for 5 days when he's not really sick. So that would probably be a way of controlling that, is if you use the teleconferencing, and you can actually make sure and have a record and say, well, the guy was never sick. The doctor's note is not fraudulent.
Absolutely.
It's issued directly to the company, maybe via then a piece of paper that somebody walks in with. So things like that. I think it's as adaptable as you want it to make it. Really, it's. I think every day. I mean, you told me about the courtroom scenario. I would never have imagined that would even be possible. That people as a witness, never mind the criminal, but as a witness, that you could go online and you could be anywhere in the country and be testifying in a courtroom in another part of the country. So you don't miss your time away from work, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's probably the similar lines that this could be applied. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So now I understand. I mean, looking at it from that perspective, that makes a lot of sense. So yes, that's not very difficult to do. You can create a time and date stamp through the software application that you're using. Like this particular platform is being recorded right now, the session with the customer or the client or the patient. can actually be recorded with a time and date stamp as well. Yeah, there are provisions out there for that.
And I think it would be exciting if the system was connected automatically, maybe to the health insurance and, and everything process, they get a copy of the diagnosis and all the, it would be now a fully end-to-end solution that would, that would make sense to somebody investing in it, And this is interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Dennis has brought this up, because like the other day, my medical insurance moved from doing something with running the card to giving me a PIN. I'm still trying to figure it out. But I'm like, why would they do this? And this must be because of fraud, because I have to do my fingerprint and then they would swipe my card. But now I do the fingerprint and they've given me a PIN. And I'm like, what is the point of the PIN if I still have to come and do my fingerprint? I don't understand, So
Yes.
those are the kind of challenges that we are facing today, What are some of the challenges of deploying these equipment software in the healthcare sector? I like this.
That's a very good question. And I think this is why we're talking to you today. One of the things that we're trying to do is obviously take Logitech to market. Logitech's always been available in Africa. And yes, we've always had challenges with taking product into market, but that is why we would recruit the right channel partners or reseller partners that have the skills and the ability to deploy this equipment with the knowledge to integrate into the various platforms like Microsoft or Zoom or BlueJeans or whatever the platform of choice is in your case. And I think this is where we are flexible in the sense that you are a health organization or an organization in itself, and you would also have your IT service providers. We could work with them, or we could work with the existing channel partners in that particular region that we've already started working with. So yes, we do have some challenges, and I think some of the other challenges would be getting product into the countries. There's certain countries across Africa that pose a challenge when it comes to compliance and certification, but right now, Morgan will attest to this as well. We're actually working through the system to make sure that all our products across the board are actually certified for each country across Africa as well. I hope I've answered. Morgan, you can add something if you want, Damon.
Yes, again, I think the other thing, and just reading the question on the side here, the challenges, I think probably one of our biggest challenges is that people don't know what the applications can be used for. We've always, as an example, and I'm probably guilty of that, say, it's a video conferencing camera. Let's use it for that application. So you put it in a video conferencing room. You might use that camera for an hour a day or 2 hours a day for meetings, but it can be used in so many more applications. And I think those are the use cases and the applications that, with a little bit more knowledge and a little bit more thinking out the box, and I know that's an old parrot type phrase, but it really is true that these applications, especially in a place like Africa, where travel is difficult, in Nairobi is a perfect example. I've never had a meeting in Nairobi before 10 o'clock because you don't want to sit in the traffic for 2 hours. So these applications can be used in lots of means. You can have a doctor on call at 7 o'clock in the morning, and he's already by 8 o'clock, he could have, diagnosed 5, 6, 10 patients. So it's just, it's really just talking to us, just bringing up and no question is irrelevant. So any type of question, any type of suggestion, we are very flexible. We are, if we don't have an answer, we will find out within our organization worldwide what are the trends, what works, and we can respond to you on by mail, etc. So please, there will be a Q&A sent to everybody afterwards, uploaded, and whatever question, nothing's irrelevant, please email it to us and we will respond to you.
Absolutely. Just one thing from my side, I just want to add to Stephen's question there. And I think, this is synonymous with most of our products, if not all of them. The systems is designed to remove the complexity. So gone are the days where you need a highly skilled professional to come in and do your video conferencing deployment. If you wanted to acquire it and plug it in yourself, you're more than welcome to. So the focus has been around ease of integration. So the term plug and play in most cases actually works, and in some cases does require a little bit of knowledge. but that's nothing that we can't assist you, over the telephone with, or our support centers around the world can assist you with either. Just thought I'd add that in.
Yeah.
Good point.
And I mean, and by the way, I mean, this is why you're the technology solution providers. If it was as simple as just plug and play, it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like you know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
To assure us. Okay, so a question from Samuel, and I think it's the last one, unless somebody else has another question. We seem to be doing very well with time. As a microfinance institution, so much rural focused, especially smallholder farmers, how relevant, effective, and end user friendly to your system? He says they require online linkages to farmers and connectivity to market access. Okay, then he's asking about affordability and efficacy. So first of all, I think his biggest concern is connectivity. And I can kind of feel where Samuel is coming from, because it's one of those things where you have people who are very remote, they have no connectivity. There's a solution work in a way that you can work with it offline, and then after some time, when you get to a place where there's network, it connects and uploads all the data. And, he has, so you guys know the African problem. I don't need to go.
And that's not unique to just major parts of Africa, South Africa as well. We have rural areas that we cannot get coverage to, and unfortunately, with video conferencing and cloud services, we are dependent. Our system's only as good as the internet connection, right? So that is something that unfortunately we have to work around. So based on coverage in that particular area, if there's availability of an internet connection or broadband connection, our devices are designed not just for high-speed bandwidth usage. It'll also drop down to minimal requirements but that would obviously affect the video resolution and the sound throughput. So if there's a basic internet connection, let's say 2 megabits per second, the video will still work. That's not an issue. That's in most cases, just the resolution of the video would then obviously be dropped down to an acceptable level. But yeah, and it's easy enough for our farmers out there to actually make use of as well. Even I can use it.
Okay, and what about affordability? He's also very interested in affordability. And I have a feeling, and I don't know, Samuel, correct me if I'm wrong, you're looking at more of the meeting solutions, right? Meeting room solutions and all that. So that you're able to engage with your remote farmers and all that. You said you're from a microfinance. So I think that's what you're looking at, and you're trying to be like, okay, how do we reach, these guys who are so far off and we can't travel there right? So I think that's kind of his concern, and he's very happy about the meeting room solution.
Yes.
But he wants to know like affordability and things like that. And efficacy.
Let's just put it this way. If we're looking at, okay. All right, so just on the pricing side, Morgan, I don't know if you want to touch on the efficacy. I'll touch on the pricing. On the pricing side, our solutions are very affordable. Our most expensive solution, Rolls-Royce system, is no more than $3,000. That's barring any add-ons that you might put on. And our entry-level room solution would be as little as $900. So, I stand to be corrected. We also, open to exchange rates, et cetera, and customs and clearing and VAT requirements. But yeah, we have a solution to fit any application and budget requirements. So we can definitely talk to Samuel a little bit more about that.
Okay. Morgan, you want to add anything, or you're good?
No, that's good. Again, it's very hard not knowing the actual use case or the specifics around what's trying to be achieved or the intended outcome. But 9 times out of 10, we may be able to offer an alternative as an example. So, that's why I said, please, whatever the question of, however irrelevant you may deem it, it might be very relevant to us. We may be able to suggest an alternative that can solve your use case. We've done lots. If I think, and again, I've been in this industry quite a while, but if I look back when I started 2003, 2004, traveling in Africa, You used to go online at 2 o'clock in the morning in the hotel because you wanted to send your emails because there was a 64K line. And if you have a look at how that's over the last 15 years, how that has progressed. So things are changing all the time, circumstances are changing all the time, and conditions. We might be able to provide a satellite solution as an example via the connectivity. We work daily with the telco providers. We have some good relationships with them. We can always come up with some solution. It might not be ideal, but there may be a solution. And I know it sounds very vague, but not knowing the exact circumstances or the exact outcomes, it's very difficult. That's why I said, please just email us. More than willing to answer any questions or provide any use case.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of our session. On behalf of the attendees today, I would really like to thank Logitech for hosting today's webinar and just schooling us on what you have on offer. For me, the biggest thing is that you're not operating on one size fits all. Each scenario is different. Each customer is different, which I think is very, very good. What I will do, I will ask all the attendees to please, these webinars, we don't have enough time to ask all the questions we want to ask. Sometimes, we are rushing with time. So please fill out the feedback form that we're going to share with you. Please add any more questions that you may have there. We will share them with Sugan and Morgan. Please let us know if you are interested in any of their solutions. You can indicate in the feedback form, and then they will get in touch with you directly. We want to make sure that your problems are solved, and that's why you've taken an hour to be with us in this session, okay? Thank you for your time to the attendees. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for being such a great audience. And I look forward to seeing all of you at our next session. I think the next one we are doing is the Industry 4.0 Forum, which is a manufacturing summit that we are hosting on the 6th of August. Okay, which is going to be virtual. So those of you in manufacturing or those who have friends in manufacturing, please join us, look out for the invitation and join us for that session. We're looking at how we can digitally transform the manufacturing industry and automate it for better productivity, seeing as things have changed now and we have to just embrace technology as much as we can. Once again, on behalf of CIO East Africa, thank you, Sugan. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you to our attendees, and thank you to my team for
thank you very much.
A fantastic session.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for attending. Thank you, Laura. And to your team.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Laura.